Hello, everyone. I wanted to make this video to talk about my experience with Spectrum Mobile. I've read a lot of things about, a lot of negative things about Spectrum in terms of its service, the customer service, the unlocking element, right? People have had difficult unlocking phones. And I was a little weary about it when I read things on Reddit, for example, about it. But I think it could be potentially a decent option for somebody who's on a budget and you're trying to save some money and you need home internet. I know not everybody needs home internet, but as somebody who works from home a lot, I definitely need pretty solid home internet. Now, I was in the market for a new internet provider and I tried to get Fios, but unfortunately they kept missing their appointments. So I went with Spectrum, and they have a deal right now where it's like, and I'm not sponsored, by the way. I don't have any sponsorship with them. It's $49.99, but you get a free mobile line, and for 1 year. Now, after a year, it seems to kick up to $30. So at that point, I think you can figure out whether or not it's worth it for you. And I actually opted for 1 gigabyte. So this is a 300 Mbps internet. Obviously, you have no data caps, right? You have unlimited internet, but it's the upload and download speeds and what have you. More like the download speeds. So I got 1 gigabyte. So mine was $59.99, but it still came with a free mobile line. So the things I heard about Spectrum was that, I read these things on Reddit, was again, poor service, customer service, that the phones were hard to unlock once you unlock them, and that the service was really crappy, basically, right? Now, in terms of the service, I'll start there. I've had it for about 3 months now, and I will say that, and supposedly it's Verizon's like maybe lower tier service, or you're on Verizon's network, but you're not prioritized as like a Verizon customer would be. The service has been fine. The internet part of it has been fine across the board. Like the 5G pretty much works pretty well all the time. I was using it to navigate, and that was fine. Call reception was solid. It was okay. I didn't have any issues with it necessarily, unless I was like in the middle of a building or on the first floor of like a large building. And I did call and ask about that, and the gentleman even told me honestly, like, yeah, we do have some of those issues sometimes, but I have some of those issues on my T-Mobile phone. I will say they're probably more pronounced on Spectrum service. So there's that. Again, the internet was fine. I never had issues with using the internet portion of it, but the call reception sometimes I thought was a little spotty. And I have a Samsung phone, and in my opinion, Samsung has the best call reception of all the cell phones. So I have an iPhone, and I've had Pixel phones. Pixels are the worst with respect to call reception. So, for my opinion at least. So that was okay. The customer service has actually been pretty good. Now, you can actually go into a store, and they have different phones there. They have iPhones, they have Pixels, they have Galaxy phones, they have Motorola phones. Those are the phones I noticed the most when I was there. It was those four particular brands: Apple, Samsung, Google Pixels, and Motorola. Okay. And you could, and so what I did is I took advantage of a trade-in offer. I had a Pixel 8 that I got really cheap before a trade-in, right? I had traded in an SC2 iPhone, and I got it at Best Buy. It was unlocked, it was on sale, and they took like $350 credit from my iPhone SE and and then I flipped that to $1,000 trade-in towards the Galaxy S24 Ultra. And so, because I kind of wanted to try out the phone. So I figured, okay, if it didn't work out and it was hard to unlock, I can just trade it in when the Fold 6 comes out or when the S25 Ultra comes out. And I can kind of try out the Spectrum service just to see how it is. And so far it's been pretty good. With respect to customer service, I went into the store, I did the trade-in on the spot, so I didn't have to send it in. If you have a store nearby, I would definitely recommend that. They inspected my phone. They gave me the $1,000 credit. I paid the $420 that was left over because it was $12.99 plus tax, and so it came out to 400 and something, 420. And I basically walked out with an S24 Ultra, having traded in my Pixel 8, which I had about $400 into. Add another $420, $820. I have an S24 Ultra, and I have free mobile service for a year. And because I paid it off, they told me that after 2 billing cycles or 60 days, so it's 2 billing, it was like in between cycles. So it was like, for me, it was like 67 days or whatever. I could unlock it. Now, I had read online that it was really hard to unlock, particularly Samsung phones, but it was easier to unlock Pixels and iPhones. When the 2 billing cycles hit, I was on day 67, whatever it was. I called, I asked them to unlock my phone, and it was as simple as, okay, give me 2 minutes. The gentleman did whatever he did and said, okay, your phone's now unlocked. I got a text message telling me my phone was unlocked, and I popped in my T-Mobile SIM, and it worked. As you can see here, I'm using it on T-Mobile. And this is a Spectrum phone. I'll start it up again. Here we go. We'll do the restart. And you can see the Spectrum logo pop up in a minute. Oops, sorry about that. Let me see. Let me pop in my SIM card, my PIN, and there it is, Spectrum Mobile. So it was seamless. It was no problem at all. And I basically now have an unlocked S24 Ultra that I'm now using on T-Mobile. I haven't put my SIM card back in. Oh, and the other thing is that you have the option to use an eSIM or an actual SIM card. So I asked them to set this up on a SIM card just so I can, pop it into another phone if I wanted to continue to use the service. So I have it free for a year. I'm going to kind of put an extra line on it and what have you, just to kind of have it as a backup line. Now, you rely on it completely, if I'm a single guy or, if I'm on a budget and I need a phone and I need home internet service, then I would say, hey, okay, if it was like a partner, a significant other, a wife, a kid, I probably would opt for a more reliable service, to be honest with you. It kind of depends. Now, if you're around Wi-Fi all the time and you have a phone that does Wi-Fi calling, then it's really not as much of an issue. Like I said, in rural areas, when I get out of the city, I live in Los Angeles. When I get out of the city, it's pretty bad. It's kind of spotty, hard to get service sometimes. If I'm inside of a building, but that goes with my T-Mobile service as well, it's also kind of spotty and it kind of has a little bit of rougher time. But if I'm outside, just out and about, or I use it to navigate, I was using it to navigate all the time. The phone call reception was fine and the navigation was fine. I never had issues with the internet. It might have dropped to like 4G every now and again, LTE every now and again, but it never like stuttered or lagged or anything like that. So to be honest, I think, if I really need home internet and I'm on a budget, this is actually a pretty good option. At least for a year, you can save yourself some money. For $50, you can get both and, kind of be done with it. And that's with autopay. That's in like a little bit of an autopay discount there, just to keep that in mind. So again, I got a really good trade-in. I got a top-of-the-line phone. The customer service has been outstanding. There's stores you can go into and check out other phones if you want. And they gave me I would do it when they give you like the $1,000 credit offer, because what they did was they basically gave me what they considered the value of the Pixel 8, which I think was $300 plus the $700 bonus. So if I would have traded in like an even nicer phone, I could have gotten even more money off. But the Pixel 8 was fine, and getting $1,000 off of this phone was perfectly fine. I know, and in the next year, you can upgrade as much as you want. So if you decide you want to buy this phone and unlock it, and then you have another phone to trade in for so when the Pixel Fold comes out or the Pixel 9 Pro comes out or the iPhone 16 comes out, then you can kind of do the same thing potentially. So as you're on this service, you don't have to, you can still be on this line for free and upgrade your phone like multiple times. So it's just kind of something to think about. You don't have to add a new line necessarily. I mean, they might change the stipulations, but as of right now, if I wanted to, I could trade in another phone and then get a different phone because I've already paid this off and unlocked it. So now I can use this as, this is my main daily driver phone. It's kind of taking the place of my Z Fold 5. And I really, I like it. I'm using it on T-Mobile. I got it for a really good deal. It was, brand new, obviously. And the trade-in offer was really stellar. So again, if you need phone service and you want a free phone line, at least for the first year, this might be a really affordable option to get both if you're on a budget. And just to reiterate, if it was somebody that I would be worried about, like say if my girlfriend or if it was my wife or my kid, whatever your situation is, I don't know if I would necessarily feel as comfortable relying on this. But if you have to, hey, it's better than nothing, right? Like that's another thing to consider. So anyhow, I just wanted to make this video just to kind of talk about my Spectrum experience, Spectrum mobile experience mostly. The home internet service is what it is. It's like every other home internet service in the United States. It works fine for the most part, and some days it pisses you off because it sucks, right? Or it's had an outage or whatever, right? And they all do that. So, it's just what it is. But in terms of the mobile portion of it, I think that it's a good option if you're on a budget and you need both home internet. So just something to kind of think about. And that's all I want to say about that. I hope you're well. I hope your family's well, and take care of yourselves. Bye.